All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to today's Wise 5 Picks stream. As you can tell, once again, it is just me today. Ben got his second COVID shot and is suffering the side effects of that right now. So he is not fit to play. He's on the one stream IL. There's an echo. That's not good. I don't know what's causing the echo. Is it echoing? Or are you just saying echo? Can you guys let me know? Okay. If there's no echo, then I'm not worried about it. I'm assuming Matt was just talking about something else. But yeah, so despite 0 bends today, we have 5 picks coming up. A quick recap of yesterday. It was a kind of meh day. We had Ray's money line, which hit. We had Trevor Bauer over 7.5 Ks, which hit. But aside from that, suffered a couple tough losses. Arizona didn't get anything going. So we lost the over 11 in that game. Colorado did their part. They put up 7. Arizona only scored 1. We lost Brewers over 4.5. They ended at 4. We lost that on the 0.5. And the Marlins decided to switch out their pitcher. They decided to use an opener and bring in Holloway later in the game. And, of course, the opener that they use cost us our Nerfy. But we have all these plays as action plays as opposed to only a play if the pitcher starts. It's just easier to keep track of stuff that way. We benefit from it sometimes, we lose from it sometimes. It evens itself out in the end. But that was a loss. So overall, we're sitting at 59, 48, and 3, up 13.6 units. I'm feeling good though. I think let's talk about the Nerfy. The Miami, New York one, I mean, that was kind of lame, right? Stroman did his part, and then the guy that we handicapped on Miami did not do his part because he didn't even get the opportunity to pitch in the first inning. Today's Nerfy, though, assuming no starters get scratched, we actually have, for the first time in 3 days, we're going to have the actual pitchers that we picked the Nerfy on pitching in the game. What a nice concept that is. We'll get down to that Nerfy in a second. I'm going to start off with the money line. Wise pick of the day. And I'm going to go with the Chicago Cubs at minus 109 against the St. Louis Cardinals. So let me find this line. There it is. So Adbert Alzolay on the mound for Chicago and Miles McCollus on the mound for St. Louis. So this is a spot that I really like. So Alzolay is a really solid pitcher. I've watched him pitch a couple times this year because we've had some games involving him on the stream before, and he's a really solid guy. He's got good stuff, good enough control, and he's a righty. And the Cardinals are a lineup stacked with right-handed bats. They hit a lot better against lefties than they do against righties. On the flip side, Miles McCollus on the mound for St. Louis hasn't pitched since 2019, since very early in 2019, I believe. He had a shoulder injury, had another injury. I lost my page. Off to a good start. But yeah, McCollus has not really done anything in the last couple of years because he's been hurt. So I think that there's going to be some rust on his end. So what I'm kind of expecting here is McCollus to be a little bit rusty, for the Cubs to put in a couple off of him early, and then we get to the Cardinals bullpen, and the Cardinals bullpen is really bipolar. The tail end of it, the setup men and the closer are elite. the rest of the guys in that bullpen are hot garbage. So I think this is something that we saw with the Pirates under a couple days ago with Flaherty. So the Cardinals got up by so many runs that they didn't need to use those guys, and then the other middle relievers, the long relievers that they threw out there, gave up some runs, and they're not good. So I'm kind of hoping to see some of those guys as well. I'm expecting the Cubs to win this one pretty handily at -109. I absolutely love the value. Solo stream today? Yes, it is a solo stream today. Ben is suffering the consequences of his second COVID shot. Also, this is a play that the model really likes today. So the model has been doing really well. It's only been up and running for 2 days, but it's doing extremely well on money line plays where it identifies a big inefficiency between what Vegas says and what the model says. So the model has the Cubs at -172 today, so we're looking at about a 12% difference in implied probability between the -109 from Vegas and the -172 that the model says. So from that perspective also, I'm really liking the value on the Cubs. How do I like Nationals and Red Sox today? I have a pick involving one of those games, and then I'll touch on the other one at the end of the stream. So actually, second wise pick is the game involving one of those teams. It's going to be involving the Nationals. And we're going to go with the over 9 runs in the game between Baltimore and Washington today. So I think we have that at -117 somewhere. I see -124 here on PointsBet. Here it is, over 9, -117 on DraftKings. So this is a spot that I think is pretty interesting. So the Orioles are actually the team here that I like quite a bit. You feel Nats are a dog play? I'm not a Nats fan today. So Bruce Zimmerman on the mound for the Orioles is a pretty bad starting pitcher. He's a mediocre guy at his best. He got demoted earlier. He got called up to make a relief appearance a couple days ago against the Yankees and pitched really well in that. But when he's been starting, he's been consistently meh. We'll put it. So he made 6 starts earlier this year, gave up between 2 and 4 runs in all of the starts. So he never shut anybody out. He also never got completely destroyed. And those covered between like 4 and 6 innings. So I think that the Nationals are a pretty safe bet to score 4 runs today. And Matt, I could not agree more that the Orioles are going to blow up Leicester today. I was really thinking about just taking an Orioles team total over here. But I do think that Zimmerman is kind of bad enough that the Nationals will be able to score on him as well. So I like, for that reason, the game total as opposed to the team total. So I have some stats. So the Orioles are actually a really good team against left-handed pitching. So the Orioles have played 8 games in the month of May against a left-handed starter. And here is how they went. So on May 1st, they faced Jesus Luzardo of the Athletics, and that was an 8-4 Orioles win. So that's 8 runs against the lefty for the Orioles, and a game total that went over. In that same series, they faced Sean Manaea, a very good left-handed pitcher. Orioles put up 5 runs in that game, and they allowed the A's to score 7. So that's another Orioles over, game total over. They faced Yusei Kikuchi of the Seattle Mariners, who's a lefty, in the month of May. Orioles scored 6 runs in that game. That was also the John Means no-hitter. So the game total went under because Seattle obviously didn't put any runs on the board. But I don't think that Bruce Zimmerman has any shot of no-hitting the Nationals today. They faced Eduardo Rodriguez of the Red Sox. This is one of these occurrences where the Orioles did not perform well. They only scored 2 runs in that game. Against the Red Sox as well in the same series, they faced... what's his name? Martin Perez scored 4 runs. They faced Jordan Montgomery of the Yankees and scored 10 in that game. They faced Ryan Yarbrough on the Rays and scored 7. And then only 1 against Rich Hill. But long story short, what we've seen is a lot of success for the Orioles against left-handed pitching. Lester is not the old John Lester. I think the Orioles are going to score 5 or 6. I think the Nationals are good for 3 or 4. And I think that we end up with a game that's, I don't know. We'll go 6-4, maybe 6-5 Orioles today. I like the over here quite a bit. All right. Next up, team total pick. We're going to go with the Texas Rangers under 3.5 runs today against Lance McCullers Jr. and the Houston Astros. So let me find this line real quick. DraftKings did not want to load. Let's check somewhere else. I think DraftKings, though, is where the... actually, maybe it was PointsBet where the minus 105 is. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Boom. Texas Rangers under 3.5 at minus 105. So the Rangers are ice cold right now. Let me pull up exactly what they've been doing recently. So the Rangers put up 7 against Houston yesterday, which is good. But before that, they put up 0 in the 2 games before that. They're not playing well. They've put up like a couple 4s in the last few games also. But it's really more from home runs as opposed to anything else, as opposed to the Rangers really doing a good job getting men on base, stringing together hits. And I don't think that they're going to be able to do that against McCullers. So McCullers, last time out, had to start against this same Texas Rangers team. Went 5 innings, didn't give up any runs. In his career, McCullers against the players on the Rangers right now, they are hitting 15 for 87 against Lance McCullers. That is not good. What is that exact batting average? That is, they're hitting 172 against McCullers. And in those 87 at-bats, he's also has 29 strikeouts. So about 2 strikeouts for every hit for McCullers against the Rangers. And only 1 home run, only 3 doubles. So even the balls that are getting put into play are pretty weak hits. It's not even a 3 true outcome scenario. It's just they can't hit off of him at all. So I think, all that said, 3.5 under that at minus 105. I like the value here as well. Next up, we have our player prop, and I'm actually going to have to pull up FanDuel. Yeah, McCullers only throws 5 innings, but if he doesn't give up any runs or only gives up a run in 5 innings, I have no problem with that. So let's I'm gonna look at the Astros bullpen. I think that's kind of just an average bullpen. It's not a great bullpen. It's not a bad bullpen either. Yeah. So the Astros bullpen has a. Why won't this change to the bullpen? 1 second. There we go. Astros bullpen, 4.08 ERA on the year. Pretty middle of the road. So if we get 1 run from McCullers, 2 runs from the bullpen, I think that's a pretty realistic scenario, and that puts the Rangers at under 3. And we can trade off. We can maybe have McCullers give up 2, bullpen give up 1. McCullers gives up 0, bullpen gives up 0. That would be nice. But I'm not super concerned about the bullpen. I really like the matchup with McCullers against the Rangers, so I'm willing to take the bullpen work and cross my fingers and hope that they don't throw it. Yeah. Also, Santander is back. That is correct. He played yesterday. He's a pretty important piece for that Orioles team. They're going to be a lot better with him in the lineup. That's an excellent point also. So, player prop. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to pull up FanDuel for this because it wasn't up on any of the books that we typically like to use. It's going to be Robbie Ray over 7.5 strikeouts. So let me pull this up real quick. I accidentally closed it earlier. Did not have my shit together. Okay, and this is certainly not at minus 103 right now. So I'm going to have to change that also. But so Robbie Ray over 7.5 Ks is sitting at minus 118. I'm going to go double check, make sure this isn't on any of the other books. I didn't see it here before. No, still not up on PointsBet. DraftKings is just glitching out. I don't even know what's going on with DraftKings. Does anybody else have that problem with DraftKings where you open up a page and it just goes black and you have to completely reset it? But let's take a look. Yeah, no player props up for this game yet on DraftKings. So we're gonna lock it in on FanDuel. I'm okay doing that. It'll be up eventually. It's just not up yet. So Robbie Ray over 7.5 strikeouts at minus 118. Gonna lock it in there. So Robbie Ray is on fire. Good. I've said this before on stream. Good Robbie Ray is one of the best pitchers in the game. Just full stop. Bad Robbie Ray is really, really bad. So Robbie Ray, last 3 starts against Philly, against Atlanta, and against Oakland. 9 Ks, 10 Ks, 9 Ks. So he's got his stuff. And also 1 combined walk over his last 5 games, which has been the thing that's been Robbie Ray's problem in his career, is just walking way too many guys, not being able to go deep. So he's got his control. He's got his K stuff. And the Rays, despite being pretty hot, are actually very, very, very strikeout prone against left-handed pitching. So the Rays this year, pulling up the exact number, have struck out 30.9% of their plate appearances against left-handed pitching. And they're actually a slightly below average hitting team against lefties. They absolutely destroy righties. They hit much better for contact against righties. But against lefties, this is kind of what we get. So we've picked against the Rays. So we recently had another lefty strikeout prop against the Rays. That was Sean Manaea when he took the perfect game into the 7th, took the no-hitter into the 8th, and then I jinxed it to secure our strikeout prop. If anybody remembers that one. But yeah. Long story short is my new. His stuff is electric. I go back and forth, all these different phrases. So Ray also has a pretty decent sample size against Tampa. Not as big of a sample size. Is minus 130 too much juice? I think that's right about the max that I'd want. I wouldn't want to let the minus 130 scare me off of taking it though. That's me personally. So against the players on the Rays, Robbie Ray has 21 strikeouts in 51 at bats. That's like a 40% K rate against the guys on the Rays. They're only hitting 11 for 55 against him. And remember, it's okay if the Rays score 1 or 2 or 3 runs. We just need them to strike out a lot. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think the Rays will score a couple off of Ray, but I really like Ray to hit, again, that 9 or 10 strikeout range. So I think getting the number at 7.5 as opposed to 8.5 is great, considering what Ray has done recently and how strikeout prone the Rays are against lefties. Electric is the best. We need an electric emote. We only have one emote slot right now, though, and that's the lock. Once we have 15 subscribers on Twitch, we'll unlock a second emote slot. So everybody make sure to subscribe. So last up, we have the Nerfy prop of the day. And for this, we're going to go with no run first inning in the game between the Minnesota Twins and Cleveland Indians at minus 120. So let me go find this number real quick. Not there. That's not even the right game. I don't know why I clicked on that. Here it is. Boom. Okay. Nerfy minus 120 in Minnesota, Cleveland. So on the mound for Cleveland, Shane, don't call me Justin Bieber. One of the best pitchers in the game. He's been a little shaky this year, for lack of a better word. But he's done really well in first innings. So let me pull everything up real quick. So he's made 9 starts on the year. He gave up 2 runs in the first inning in his first start against Detroit. But I think... Oh yeah, and he gave up 1 against Seattle in his most recent start. But that's it. So he's 7-2, not giving up any runs in the first inning. And he pitches quite well against Minnesota. So the guys at the top of the lineup, Luis Arias, 3 for 13 against Bieber. Josh Donaldson's 3 for 8, but that's kind of a smaller sample size. And then Kepler and Cano, the guys projected, or maybe even projected to be batting 3 and 4, are 6 for 24 and 6 for 23 against Bieber. So I think that Bieber is going to have a pretty easy time getting through the Twins in the first inning. On the other side, we have Kenta Maeda on the mound for Minnesota. He's a guy that I've kind of hesitated to make any picks in games involving him, just because he's been a little bit inconsistent this year. But he also has had a lot of success in first innings this year. Only 1 run in the first inning across 8 starts. That being said, that actually was against Cleveland. But I still think that he's in a good spot here. I think he's starting to kind of get there a little bit. I guess actually a couple okay outings last couple times out for Maeda again. But I think he's a good pitcher. Top of the lineup for Cleveland's not super scary. It's Cesar Hernandez, Eddie Rosario, and then Jose Ramirez, Franmil Reyes are the top 4. Ramirez and Reyes are always a threat to put one out. But Cesar Hernandez is not hitting all that well this year, and neither is Eddie Rosario. So I think that unless one of those guys on Cleveland hits a dinger, I think that Maeda is going to be fine also. Would I play over 9.5 for the Orioles? I would say no on that. I would, if the game total's at 9.5, I would look for an Orioles team total over 4 and play that instead, if you have that. I really think getting this at 9 was important. I really like it at 9. At 9.5, it would not have made the picks. It would have instead been an Orioles team total. I guess well, so let me put it this way. I don't hate the 9.5, the over in that. I still like it. But I would play the Orioles team total instead. I'm assuming it would still be at 5, or still be at 4. So that wraps up the Wise 5 picks. I'm going to talk a bit about the Red Sox game because somebody asked about that. I think it was TKO. Yeah. And then if anybody else has any games that you want me to talk about, let me know. I'm happy to stick around and do that. So I really like the Red Sox today. Long story short. It was probably the runner-up for the money line today. It's another pick that the model really likes. It has them at... So the model has Boston at minus 219, which is actually a bigger implied probability difference between what we saw in the Cubs game, which is what I ended up going with. I just like I personally, not from a model perspective, but from just a me perspective, I like the Cubs a little bit more. But I really like the Red Sox money line today as well. I think that Eovaldi is going to be good enough. Spencer Howard pitching for the Phillies, he's a top prospect. I think he's ranked. Fangraphs has him as the 31st best prospect in the league. But he's a guy who's struggled in his major league appearances. He made 6 starts last year, finished with a 5.92 ERA. His strikeouts were there, but he looked home run prone, gave up a lot of hits, and walked a decent amount of batters also. 3 relief appearances for Howard this year at the major league level. Again, kind of the similar profile. Strikeouts are there, but giving up a lot of hits and walking too many guys. So I think that the Red Sox are going to be able to take advantage of him in that sense. I think the Red Sox are a great team at just getting the ball in play, and I think that against Howard right now, that's the recipe for success. So at minus, what is it, like minus 120-ish? I really like the value on the Red Sox. Yeah, I see minus 132 over here. But in anywhere in that range, yeah, like a minus 124. Anything up to like minus 135-ish, minus 140. Or maybe I think even like a minus 145. I like the Red Sox. What do I think about Royals Tigers Nerfy at minus 104? I like it. It was one that I was looking at. The thing that scares me though is Matt Boyd and Whit Merrifield. So this is the 3rd time this year that Boyd has pitched against Merrifield, and Merrifield doesn't have a hit in either of those games. But coming into the year, Whit Merrifield was sitting at 25 for 48 in his career against Matthew Boyd. So I'm really, really worried about just a leadoff single from Merrifield, and then a stolen base, and then another single and he scores. That kind of thing. I think that that's a really, really, really distinct possibility. So I like it, but I don't think I would. I don't think I would touch it. Jack says Phillies money line. That's a lot of confidence in Howard, or a lot of confidence in Eovaldi getting blown up. Well, I mean, yeah, he can get his hit later, but he might not, or he might get a hit now and later, or he might not get any hits. One of those things is definitely going to happen. It was just too much. I don't know. It scared me. Do I like Blue Jays money line? I do like Blue Jays money line. I really think that Ray is in line for a good performance against Tampa. NDA says Rangers 3.5 under is scary. What about Red Sox over? So I know I was just talking up the Red Sox money line, but there is a little bit of uncertainty around how they're going to perform with Spencer Howard on the mound. I don't have a lot of confidence in Howard pitching well, but I do think that it's there's definitely a possibility that it clicks for him here. Part of the reason that I like the Red Sox money line, in addition to batting against Howard, is I do like Eovaldi's matchup into the Phillies bats. So that's why I like the money line a lot more than the team total. I personally don't want to take a team total against a rookie like this who's struggling, but has the good stuff. If he just has a weirdly good day, he can neutralize that team total pretty easily. So what's it sitting at? Is it 4.5? Yeah. I do think I lean the over, but I wouldn't touch it. Personally, I wouldn't touch it. It's not something that I was thinking about at all for the stream. Anybody got anything else? All right, and if not, I'm going to end the stream and hop off. Thank you all, as always, for being here. Appreciate it, especially when Ben is not here. It's kind of nice that people show up for me. I know you'd do the same if Ben was here also. Ben will be back on Tuesday, along with me. No stream tomorrow because it's Sunday. No stream on Monday, but we'll be back on Tuesday. Catch me in the Discord. I'll be around. And as always, good luck with the picks today.